Hello Internet, I'm Daniel, the Friendly Pitch Professor, and today I'd like to talk about a topic that's, I think, very close to the whole startup thing and entrepreneurship thing, but it's super unpleasant, and that's being rejected, or people actually telling you that they don't believe in your idea, that they don't think you can do it, that they don't think you can make it. And to be honest, that's going to happen to you so many times. If I would get like $1 or €1 for every single time this has happened to me, I don't know what I could have bought with that. It's something you have to get used to. It's something that sucks, but it's something I think, or at least for me personally, every single time I still hear it today, it still kind of hurts and it's still unpleasant. And it always takes me a second. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's a bit longer to kind of deal with it. That people say, no, not going to work, or no, I'm not that interested in that, or simply, yeah, let's get back to that later, like never. But then again, it's just part of what we do. And what I've learned is two things are going to happen. Number one, you say, well, okay, and leave it. If you're that type, probably, yeah, life's going to suck. Or you understand why people don't believe in what you do, and you still do it. And try and understand what you need to do that they start believing in you or in your idea. And you know, sometimes if you look at some of the great ideas, innovations of the past, I don't think that was ever that clear cut. And there's a story I love thinking of, and obviously it's not true, but it goes back to Edison. And I know Edison wasn't the guy that invented the light bulb, but he was the one who made it commercially viable, and that's why I find it quite interesting. And I always have this comic-esque picture in my head that he kind of builds this light bulb, invents this light bulb, and goes to his best friend or whatever and says, dude, I've built this thing, it's a light bulb. And so he shows it off, and the other person goes like, okay, so what'd I do it? And he says, well, it's for light. And I'm assuming that his best friend, buddy, first potential customer, whatever, didn't say, oh, that's amazing, let me have 100, but rather that they said, okay, so you mean like a candle? And I'm assuming that Edison probably said, yes, like a candle, but just better. And let's assume that his buddy still said, well, that's awesome, so let me try out this light bulb. So he gives him the light bulb and says, look, so how does this work? And he goes like, well, you'll need electricity for that. And probably his buddy then said, awesome, so how do I get this electricity? And in my like 12-year-old imagination, Edison goes like, well, probably you're going to have to rip open all your walls and put wires in them, and then we'll have to bring them to something, let's call it a power plant, which I still need to build. And then, well, you're going to have to pay for this electricity, and then the light bulb is going to work. And then I think probably his buddy didn't say like, okay, awesome, like tear holes into my wall and let me wait for something and pay for something I can have a lot cheaper, as on candles. Probably they said like, go away, you're stupid. But think of Edison, or the Edison in my imagination, the guy going back and having his light bulb in hand going like, yeah, so okay, and then starts working on it. And imagine every time he pitched this idea and told people about it and said it kind of like, yeah, that's a light bulb, and we'll have to build electricity and bring it to you and rip holes in your wall and blah blah blah. This idea is so far from real, it's so far from actually working, that I imagine not 1, not 10, not 100, but thousands of people will have turned them down. Why would you do that? Candles do the job, it's just as good, and well, you don't need to damage anything and pay for anything other than the candle itself. But I'm assuming you're probably in front of your computer, your notebook, your iPhone, Android, whatever it is. Now take the second, like now, and look at the next light bulb. And I bet with you, somewhere within the vicinity of 5 meters or 10 meters, there's one of these things. So understand how far this idea had to travel, how many times this idea was turned down, and how common it's become now. And also understand, if you're working on something and people don't see the true potential on day 1, day 10, or day 100, it doesn't mean your idea is rubbish. It just means from their point of view, it might not make sense yet. So it's down to you to understand, although you see criticism, and although you see people that say, well, I don't quite believe in it, it basically means I don't believe in it yet. So you have to bring more evidence to it. You'll have to work hard on it. And that brings me to something. If it happens to me, and I think it's something what can happen, it always makes me initially, I'm not happy if I hear it. And it makes me a little, well, yeah, I'm not happy. But the next thing that happens is then my fighting spirit comes up, and then I want to prove myself even more. I want to make this work, and this inspires me. So for me, the next time people tell you, yeah, that's not going to work, understand it will not work from their point of view. But it does from yours. And understand what you need to do to maybe not make that ideal work, but rather what do you need to do to communicate the true value of the idea, to communicate why this novelty, this innovation you've developed will help the other person in some form or function. Think of the candle and think, how would you have told this customer having his candle in hand and looking at the light bulb, how would you have tried to convince this other person? I'm quite interested to see how you would do it, and maybe you can, send me a DM or post it somewhere below. What would your strategy be? I'd be very curious to understand, and I'd also be quite curious, just share maybe some moments with me where you got turned down and you still managed to prove yourself. Be super curious to learn from that. By the way, another fun fact about me is, for those of you that do know me, I host a lot of events, I do a lot of keynote speaking. Some people actually think, yeah, it looks so easy when you do it, you're natural. Actually, at the beginning of it wasn't a career back then, I was told in my face by several people, yeah, but you're never ever gonna host anything because, you haven't got what it takes. And now in hindsight, I look at it and laugh, I'm like, sure. But that moment, back then, actually still finding and trying to re-inspire myself, that was hard work. That was hard work because I wasn't told by people who meant bad to me, but from their professional viewpoint, at that point in time, they didn't see it. And they didn't see it in me. And that's something, especially at the beginning of your career, if you still haven't found people that believe in you, that hurts even more. So even more, if you want to start with this endeavor of founding a company, or you're in the middle of it, understand quite often you're only in a phase where the only person that believes in you is actually you. And this is really important. So if you don't believe in yourself, maybe at the beginning no one does. So always believe in yourself. Always work on believing in yourself. That doesn't mean thinking you're amazing and the sun shines out of your butthole. Sorry, excuse me, but you know what I mean. But it means rather, what do you have to do to prove others that you have this incredible will to make this work? And to go full circle and to go away from the moderating thing, as an investor and people who invest, that's what you look for in an early stage company. Do the founders have this will to work past any form of rejection and other people not believing in them? This is not easy because most people will sooner or later give up. But the ones who succeed, they are the ones who actually work past all of this. And if you look in history, be it history of innovation or be it just history of mankind, so many times people have said this will not work. And if you just Google it, you'll find amazing examples. But it did. So in that sense, and I may have said this 2 or 3 times, but I strongly believe in that, always understand that the only person that can stop you is you. So make sure you don't stop yourself. In that sense, if you like what you just heard, if you like what you just heard, please do press the like button. If you have your own stories to share, hey, please share them with me. If you feel like sending me a private message on Facebook or Instagram, go for it. If you feel like sharing it below here somewhere, that would be amazing too, because people might be watching this and they might be at a bit of a low point, so maybe you can also help them, inspire them by sharing your stories. If you really enjoyed this, subscribe, and if you really enjoyed this, click the share button. And if you think all of this was rubbish and you say, Daniel, I do not believe in you, that's cool with me. That's cool with you. We'll talk about that. In that sense, have a great day. Thanks a million, and bye-bye. Oh, and one sentence I wanted to share with you, I had to think of this yesterday evening when I was driving the car. I kept on thinking, like, are there people that aren't rejected? Have they never been rejected? And then I thought, I think if you're never ever rejected, if your idea is never ever turned down and everyone always says, yep, that's totally going to work, it's the next thing, I think you're not aiming high enough. I think if you're not rejected, you're not aiming high enough. So am I saying go try and be rejected? No, but I'm trying to say go for the crazy stuff. Go for the stuff no one believes in. And if people reject you, if people tell you, nah, don't see this happening, totally not going to work, that's probably quite a good sign. So in that sense, spread the word, talk about this, talk about your ideas, get feedback from others. Oh, and really important, if people reject you, it's not because they're idiots. Don't treat them that way. It's just simply from their viewpoint or the level of information you've given them, they can't see the idea, the intentions well enough yet. So educate people on your ideas. Always treat them with every bit of respect, even if you have different opinions. And most importantly, don't have anyone ever stop you. In that sense, if you're still listening, thanks a million and see you soon. Bye bye.